I've heard that a lot of influencers are like pretty shitty people. Is that true in your experience?
I think that a lot of them are like under a lot of pressure.
Yeah. Like somebody like assault you, or like what happened?
I have been assaulted during like interviews and stuff. I won't stop working until I've hit $100 million.
And what's in your bank account? No, I'm just kidding. Nobody is completely self-made. Like,
yeah, no one's completely self-made.
Yeah, no, you're lying to yourself. At the end of the day, you know, if she's making excuses, she's falling on down and just, you know, you're too good for a king. So go off. Colton Bishop today. Thanks so much for coming on, Colton. Colton is an Instagram influencer. He's the CEO and founder of Carbon Keys Marketing from Carlsbad, California. Currently located in San Diego. He's a Carlsbad native and has been posting content since, what, like 2022?
Yeah.
Or roughly. And you founded Carbon Keys in 2022 as well, so last year, or 2 years ago now. Wow, that's crazy. We're in 2024. I always forget, like, around January, like, when we're in a new year, it's like, dude, I just, like, keep saying it's, like, the year before. Like, that's just, like, a thing that I do. It'll take me a couple months to get into it. But, yeah, so you're a video creator, runs the account That's Heavy Official on Instagram, accumulated about 364,000 followers. Content revolves around interviewing and asking people questions in public. And you founded Carbon Keys Marketing with your partner, Div. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you are driven by the passion of forging connections between brands and influencers, and helping influencers enhance their value, creating a relationship that fosters growth and success. And you work with brands like Nike, Aloe, and what other brands you work with?
We work with Stay Classy San Diego.
Oh, yeah, you do. That's true.
And
yeah.
Pull Flow.
Proud to announce that partnership, and it's going to be great working with you guys. Really looking forward to that. But one thing I wanted to ask you is, so when you initially got into Carbon Keys, like, how did that come about? Like, how did you and Div like come up with the idea, or was it like one person's idea and then somebody else jumped on board, or like who jump started this thing?
Yeah, man. Actually, I have my family has a house in Key West.
Okay.
And I was sitting down there one day and I was like, actually, it started out as a clothing company.
Wow.
And I wanted to start this out. And so I made it Carbon Keys as a name. And then, you know, sold a few shirts to a few friends here and there. And eventually was like, we had to change the business platform. And so started marketing after I created YouTube and created all my social media, and here we are today. Yeah.
So running on close to a year and a half now. In a year and a half, you've gotten to the point you are. I mean, obviously, like you, in my opinion at least, you know, you made it big on Instagram as far as like the influencer role. But what do you think is like about you, or about like what you did, like allowed you to achieve the level of success that you're at right now?
You know, I would say definitely the Instagram following is a big game changer for a lot of things. I mean, that opened a lot of doors for me for sure. And it opens a lot. So definitely a conversation starter.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're here today, is the fact that you have the following that you do. But tell people a little bit about the types of content that you produce. I mean, I've seen it. You know, I know that you do street interviews. You approach people, and it's like a would you rather, or it's like, how do you feel about so and so, like Kanye West or Trump or Biden or whatever it is. But can you tell people a little bit more about like the specific kinds of content you produce and like what inspires that content?
Yeah, of course. You know, one of my friends actually, Ivan, he was my cameraman at the time, and what we would do is we'd drive all the way down to, you know, UTC and go and film this content, and we would come up with the questions in the car along the way, and just looking at these guys on like doing the interviews, the public interviews. And pretty much he would, you know, we would come up with these like outrageous questions, like, you know, who would you rather, you know, have sex with, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or like Santa, or like whatever. And these like videos that go viral. And we just keep on pumping out more and more videos, and eventually we started getting brand deals and stuff, and it was great. Yeah.
That was just you and him at the beginning. And then over time, like, was there a particular moment where like the right people took notice, or was it just a very gradual process that built you towards like the following that you got?
I would say, I think like the first time I started like noticing that we were gaining traction is when people would like start to come up to us when we were filming, and they'd be like, "Wait, you're That's Heavy," and then they would just like see literally like my friend who's like, you know, 6'5", holding a camera, like totally awkward. And it was just like, it was super nice though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, the content that you produce, like, so I find it really funny. I find it hilarious. Like, there was a video actually we were just watching, all of us, before you came to the studio today, where if I'm not mistaken, it appears like the people in the video are trying to record like a podcast or like record something in the middle of a lecture hall during a lecture at UCSD.
Yeah.
And the professor's like, oh, you guys got to get the fuck out, blah, blah, blah. But like, yeah, tell me what inspired that bit. And like, also like who comes up with this stuff? Is it you, or like, how does that come about?
Yeah. So that video, I collabed with another channel. And I don't think they do YouTube anymore, but, yeah, they were just like, yo, we got to go to, colleges and do like a podcast and lecture type thing. And I was like, I don't know how that's going to work out. Cause like SDSU, they have campus security, UCSD, all that stuff. But we eventually ended up
infiltrated security.
Yeah. Yeah. We eventually ended up doing it. And those guys, dude, they drink like hard.
Yeah.
And like, we just got down there in the parking lot and they're like, let's crank out some drinks right now. Like, let's do this before we go in to film these videos.
Yeah.
And I think
that's amazing.
I think that like brought out like a lot
of creativity,
like, great content.
Sure. Did you do multiple collabs with him, or was it just one?
I did. We did the koi pond, fishing in koi ponds.
Okay.
And we did get in trouble for that one with UTC, actually like Westfield Malls.
Did they call the cops on you for that, or?
No, we got like a ban for a year from Westfield Malls.
Like you personally, or just everybody in the group, or?
Everyone in the group got like a ban.
Can you, for people who haven't seen it, can you explain what the stunt was?
Yeah, the stunt was basically, the whole point of the video is like fishing and podcasts.
Yeah.
So, or not fishing podcasts, fishing in ponds, koi ponds. And, there's a koi pond at SDSU and UTC. Yeah. And they're in front of like all the shops at UTC. So, we set up there.
You start fishing?
Just started fishing, and I was wearing like my Bass Pro shop hat, and like they're wearing like all their like jackets and stuff, like fishing jackets. And we brought a real fishing pole down there. And
did you actually try to catch the fish or not?
So we just put a bobber on the end because I was like scared of like the whole PETA like movement. That's when like the PETA movement was going on.
You didn't actually kill any fish.
No, we didn't actually like kill any fish. Okay. But a fish did actually catch on. Like you could see it in the video. And then like the security's walking up, and I was like, okay, we're basically screwed right now.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, and then the one at SDSU was actually super funny as well. We had this like girl come in, and she was just like, hey, like, can I fish with you? Like I do this like back in like Wisconsin or something like that. And like she was
fishes in koi ponds at malls?
I don't know.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know about that one, but I think she liked fishing, so.
Okay. All right. Well, tell us, about some of the other bits. Like you do, you said, you do the questions, like the would you rathers and stuff. Like what are some of your more favorite like clips that you've done with that?
I think one of them that I really liked was in December. We did Smash, Marry, or Kill. I'm not gonna say but it was I think it was like Smash, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Kill Santa, and then I don't know, something with the Grinch or whatever.
Marry the Grinch.
Yeah, Marry the Grinch. And this guy like literally commented, he was like, oh yeah, like Rudolph. And like he was very serious about it.
He was like very like instant,
exactly.
like no hesitation there.
Yeah, that video got like, I think that video got like 300,000 views.
Damn.
Like it was crazy. Yeah.
Oh shoot.
That was probably the best one right now so far. And then there was actually another video that we did that I actually enjoyed. It was sponsored. We gave away $10,000 to a waitress at a sushi place.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah. That was a fun one. It was a little awkward because I had to like sit up like a tripod in the center of the I didn't have a filmer the day.
Yeah.
So I just set up like a tripod. And
did anybody try to stop you or like?
No. I bought this like 360 camera. It was actually super cool. Insta360, and they like. It was just awesome. Like, she was happy.
What was her reaction like for people who haven't seen it?
I would check out the video. It's pretty good. Yeah,
gotta check it out. Check out it, Colton Bishop. That's Heavy Official on Instagram. But I wanted to ask you too. Like, so I know you've only been doing this for a year and a half, but it's obvious that you've seen a high level of success already with Carbon Keys, with being an influencer. So for people who are maybe in your position, like, because I know you did some college, but then you like turned to this like entrepreneur route. Like for people who maybe are in your position, like, or who were in your position like a year and a half ago, who are thinking like, man, like that's cool and all, but like, how can I like replicate that success? Like, how can I, sort of pursue my dream that maybe it's not like going to a 4-year college and getting a degree and working 9 to 5 like everybody else, but maybe like somebody has a different dream like that. Can you talk a little bit about like how you actualize that, like what it took to get from, oh, this would be a cool idea, like, joking around with friends, like whatever, to like actually making that dream a reality, like what it takes to get there?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, how Carbon Keys, or not Carbon Keys in general, but I mean, That's Heavy actually really started out it was me and my friend basically just joking around at high school and like being like, hey, go do these like pranks and stuff and, jump off buildings, and we would record them and then be like, oh, we could be pranksters. And then eventually we graduated high school and we just started filming a bunch because it was like in high school, I think like people like care about what other people think.
Yeah.
And then
no shit.
The minute you graduate, you're like, who cares? Like, no one cares anymore.
Yeah.
You literally create anything you want. And so we graduated, created the channel. I would say in the beginning, like, I wasn't seeing the success rate that I wanted to see.
Yeah.
It took about like, probably about 6 months to 8 months for us to like really see stuff that was like happening. I think about like 6 months, I had like 10,000. And then from there, like, started blowing up a lot more. But it's just consistency. Like, every day. You can't just, like, take a day off because you're tired.
No.
Like, I mean, right now, like, I have a couple, like, medical issues and stuff. And, like, I still keep on going.
This man was up till 6 a.m. last night working. And he's still here today in studio. What is it now? We're at a little past 10 o'clock. But I think, obviously the consistency and the discipline, that's something we talk a lot about on the podcast, is like the level of discipline that it takes to turn just dreams and lofty ideas and ambitions into like actualizing that, into a reality. But for you in particular, it seems like you have, you've obviously made it pretty big, I think, at an early age. I mean, what are you, 21, 22? 21, yeah. And like for you, like, do you think that what you did was like a combination of like circumstances, or do you feel like it was more of just like, your idea, or like somebody in your life that sort of like told you that this was possible, or like what was the secret ingredient?
Literally consistency and having like a solid like filmer like that, like really like push the stuff. Ivan, like he really brought the best out of me when we were filming. Yeah. And I think like having that like moral support is like the best as well. I have like really good parents as well, so yeah. I think that's like the best scenario to have. Now,
to get personal, like when you told your parents, I'm sure there was a moment, or maybe not a moment where you told them, but when they sort of started to realize that, hey, you didn't want to pursue the typical, 9 to 5 corporate slave life, like you wanted to do something else with your life, like it sounds like they were supportive of that, or like what was the reaction? Or maybe it took some time.
It took some time for sure. I think they understood that college was not gonna be for me. Yeah. I went to college for 1 semester. I tore my back rowing, and then I basically just started like partying from there. And I partied the entire semester. I just didn't go to class or anything.
Rowing's a tough sport, man.
Yeah, it's a crazy sport.
Brutal. Have you read or seen Boys in the Boat?
I read it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good book.
That's a great book.
Do you feel like it's pretty accurately just characterizes like the experience of rowing?
Yeah, it's pretty hard. I think like it was 4 a.m. wake ups, and then like finishing at like 9:30, and then just going to work out again at 11. Like it was crazy. Jesus. Yeah, and these guys are like 6'1", 6'2". I mean, I'm not that tall, so yeah, I can like keep up with these guys, but they're absolute tanks.
Yeah, you rode in high school too?
Yeah, I rode senior year in high school.
Okay. Yeah, no, it seems like with rowing, it's like such a mental battle. I mean, I would compare it, although I haven't rowed, to like cross country or like wrestling. Yeah. Like where there's just like a certain level of mental grind to it that like takes a toll on someone. But I feel like you obviously, am I correct in assuming you don't intend to row anymore? But do you think that like taught you something about like hard work, discipline, consistency that you like sort of carried over into your entrepreneurial like spirit?
I think so, yeah, in a sense. I'm like more prone to like being late to stuff if I'm being honest, and I really like my sleep. So that's why I wasn't like showing up a whole lot to this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say like, lifting the weights and stuff and doing those wake ups at like 4 a.m., especially consistently. Like there's a point where like I wouldn't be late for like, I don't know, 2 to 3 weeks or whatever consistently. And it was just crazy.
Hey there, San Diego. I've been using Dorado Nutrition supplements for a little while now, and I can tell you they've made a huge difference in my health journey. Not only are they made in the USA with high quality ingredients, but they're also rigorously tested for purity, potency, and safety. And the results speak for themselves. With ingredients like Fidogia agrestis and Tonkat Ali, I've seen more energy, better gut health, improved T levels, muscle mass, and performance. And the best part is that you can get a $5 discount off your next purchase with the promo code STAYCLASSY at checkout. Trust me, if you're looking to take your health and fitness journey to the next level, Dorado Nutrition is the way to go. Yeah. Do you think that there's anybody in your life that, whether it was a parent, whether it was a relative or a friend or a mentor or somebody who, or maybe somebody that you didn't even know, but somebody who you just drew inspiration from, that was sort of like, you look at that person and say like, hey, like I can do it because I know this person did it, or that somebody who told you that it was possible to sort of pursue this atypical route that you've taken with your life?
I would say like someone, I guess, that like I look up to would be like, I don't know, like Jordan Belfort.
Jordan Belfort, yeah. I mean, I know Jordan Belfort is, I think, but for people who don't know, can you explain to the audience who Jordan Belfort is?
The Wolf of Wall Street.
The Wolf of Wall Street, yeah.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, great guy. Go see Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, great movie. Jordan Belfort, was it early 90s? I think it was late 80s, early 90s. Founded, what was the company called? Stratton Oakmont. Which was a questionable securities and exchange corporation. But basically, Jordan Belfort, known for the drug use, known for the partying, known for, the supermodels and stuff. But actually, like, it's funny that we bring him up because obviously, he was a criminal. He did his time. But I've watched a number of his interviews, since he's been released, and the man has incredible work ethic. Like, there's no denying it. Like, he has incredible work ethic. He put in a lot of work into Stratton Oakmont. He's put in a lot of work since he's been released. So I think, like, even in people who, like, this is my personal take, is like, even in people like that, where it's like, okay, obviously, don't actually do what he did, but like, there's lessons to be learned there. And I think that's true from like a lot of historical figures, like people who, maybe weren't the best people, but it's like you can learn something from that story. And I think the thing to take away from Jordan's story is like, obviously, you can take it too far, but there's a level of like work ethic and like actualizing someone's dreams that like is very possible that you can sort of like emulate. You can like emulate like sort of the system and structure that he put into place in his life that allowed him to create Stratton Oakmont without like, doing illegal shit.
Doing all the money laundering.
But no, Jordan Belfort, great guy. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, like, I think that there's a lot to be learned in that movie. So
absolutely, I think so as well.
Yeah. Was there anybody else? Like, what about have you ever seen the movie The Social Network by chance?
I haven't.
Okay.
Is that the one with the Facebook?
It's about Zuckerberg and the founding of Facebook.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious, like, is there anybody in like sort of the influencer, like tech, social media space that you sort of look up to?
Not really, because actually most of the guys that are like in the influencer age sort are like my age. So they're not like, true. And I've like met a lot of these guys and stuff, and some of them are like awesome, and then like some of them that you do look up to, you're kind of like, like why do you do some of this stuff,
I've heard that a lot of influencers are like pretty shitty people. Is that true in your experience?
I don't think so, actually. I think that a lot of them are like under a lot of pressure. Yeah. And
so people just see the outside. They don't know like what goes into it.
It's crazy because some of these people like want to see. I've heard some crazy stories where like fans will like show up to their house, and like there's a huge problem with that. I had a problem with that when I was doing it. And
people showing up to your house?
Yeah, or just like being like out in public and just like getting weird interactions,
Like somebody like assault you, or like what happened?
I have been assaulted during like interviews and stuff, but
like physically.
Nothing like just like the cameras are off and like I'm getting assaulted. No.
Like somebody recognized you, was like, screw this guy, and like straight just went for it?
No. That was like during an interview, but not like nothing like crazy like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. let's keep it that way, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you, like, so with the influencer stuff, I mean, what do you think like influencers are like as people in your experience? Like what does it take to sort of be an influencer? Like what sort of personality characteristics does it take to be an influencer for somebody who thinks like, oh man, you know, I could do that.
Yeah, I think one of the main things that like I searched up, and one of the guys, Lucas, he told me I think his username's like Luke Kook or whatever. But he told me, he was like, you had to search up like storytelling.
Yeah.
Like, you have to become a good storyteller.
Mm.
I don't think I picked that up at all.
Okay.
But I think what you had to do is really become like a good like visionary, and come up with these videos. And if they don't work, like, so what? You film like 10, 15 takes. I mean, like, every day we were out filming, like, I don't even know, like, I think we'd film probably 6 or 7 hours and get probably 100 clips.
Yeah.
And just like of those 100 clips, maybe walk away with like 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you just like have to really like think and, you know, vision like what's gonna happen during your videos, and how are you gonna, you know, push someone to be more, I don't know, say more crazy stuff on camera.
Yeah. How do you do that? Like, how do you, like, what's the creative process that goes into like, you know, like, what, I guess what I'm asking is like, what separates anybody that's trying to do this from like what you've done successfully, which is like getting people to say really, really cool shit.
There's nothing separating me. I think anyone like can do it.
But not everyone does. Like, you've done it in a way that other people aren't doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think what I did different from other people doing it is that I made the videos entertaining versus just me saying like, what's up guys, like, I'm with like this person, and today like we're gonna be asking, you know, smash, marry, or kill, or whatever, something like that. And I think like I made the videos, like I put like, in the beginning I was doing that, and then like I did like subtitles, and then I started adding like the FX and stuff, and started color grading the videos. And then I realized that like I'd eventually at one point, because every single night I was up till like, you know, 6 a.m., 7 a.m. essentially, just grinding out and seeing what videos like work and what videos don't. And each video you can like see that like it keeps like a view count keeps on getting higher, like the share count or whatever. And I was just researching all the videos, being like, why does it do this? I know Mr. Beast is actually like a great example of doing that. He literally tells people in his videos like how to go viral.
Yeah. Mr. Beast is a good one.
Yeah, he's a great person. And he just like, I watched his videos, and essentially I was taking a lot of his advice and putting them on my channel. And then, you know, I pretty much gained a lot of views from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I might have misheard this, but I believe that at some point you did something with the Nelk Boys. Is that correct?
Yeah, dude.
Can you talk about that?
I actually can't. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's more like,
NDAs?
Yeah.
Okay. You can confirm that you've toured or done something with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see like in the videos and stuff.
Is it because it's like hasn't been released, or?
It's been released.
It's been released.
Yeah.
Okay. You just can't say like what went into like the process of like filming and.
I think I can say like, yeah, like what, like I guess like our part and stuff in it. So I think this is maybe back a few months ago. We went to, one of my friends hit me up, and he was like, hey, Colton, you know, I have cousin Jay and like Salim. They were gonna go and book like a tour out to Salt Lake City. And I was like, okay, cool, like let's do it. And he's like, but I need you to find the house. And I was like, all right, let me make some calls. And so what's good is obviously we went to a networking event actually the week before and met a bunch of people that own houses in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And just called up a couple of those people, and they took care of us really well out there, actually. We got to go to this show called like Fastlane car show.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. and then we got to go to, or no, that was actually Fastlane. They actually held that at Edison House, and that was a really cool place to go to. It was like a private club type thing there.
Oh, gotcha.
But of course, like getting back to like Salim and like Cousin Jay and stuff, you know, is pretty much just putting together their tour.
Okay.
Making sure they had a really fun time.
Yeah.
And obviously putting the work in, waking up in the morning and making sure, you know, our brand deal, like breakfast is there, like whatever like that.
When was this again?
This is back in November.
November. Okay. So you've met all the Nelk Boys.
I haven't met all
the
of
current
them,
roster. No. Okay, but Salim and who's the other one?
Cousin Jay.
Cousin Jay. Have you met Kyle Steiny?
I haven't.
Okay. What about? Or no, Bob isn't with the Nelk Boys anymore. Is Steve with the Nelk Boys? Steve will do it.
I think he is, because of Happy Dad, but I don't think he's allowed to be in the YouTube videos anymore.
Oh, why? What happened?
What was it? Oh, you know what? He did YouTube. Well,
I know he's
YouTube,
done some off kilter.
Yeah, he's
shit.
done some off filter stuff for sure. But YouTube, like, I don't know, they're not the best. But they basically, I think he was like gambling one time and showed the URL, and then he got like banned. It was like something stupid like that.
It sounds pretty typical, Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy got famous from like what, like
Drinking.
chugging drinks and like, you know, shotgunning whatever.
Yeah.
And
this is what I mean.
partying,
Anyone can go viral.
Yeah, anyone can, but not everyone does.
Yeah.
And I feel like people go viral but don't necessarily maintain like, you know, a brand. But you've like done that. So talk a little bit about like Carbon Keys, like for people who are like, because we kind of like brushed over that at the beginning, but for people who like don't know, like, you know, what the heck is Carbon Keys? Like, what do you guys like actually do? Like, who do you work with? And like, what is like, what are the results sort of look like?
Yeah, man. So one of the companies right now that we're working with is pollflow.com, and they are a survey company. So they basically, you log onto their website, they talk about, let's say, like, you can post your own polls and have like your friends like poll about them and be like, oh, like, is whiskey better than like tequila or something like that, and like have all your friends vote on it. And then it breaks down, like, it's really cool actually. It breaks down your like gender, like votes, you know, age, like sex, like any like race, all that stuff. This is a pretty cool company because it's like a tech company. I like that stuff. And so, you know, essentially how we come in from Carbon Keys is they come to us and they said, they're like, we want users on PullFlow. And I was like, okay, we can definitely do that. So our goals are, I think, 10,000 this year. Yeah. And we're on track to do that right now. I would say with Carbon Keys marketing though, what we do like offering stuff is more like ads, like AdSense. That's more like based in Meta. We do a lot of IT, so any websites, any of that you need.
Like website design or?
Website design, anything. So we're pretty much like a one-stop shop. So, you know, for example, say an ad doesn't go good, like it's not because of the fact that like, oh, the videographer didn't do it correctly. Like we test our videographers out, we test our editors out before they're ever actually like contracted with the company.
Sure.
So
go ahead.
Just to make sure they get like the top price, like the finest like luxury, like I guess like marketing for them.
So one of the brands you guys work with is Nike, right?
Yeah.
What do you do with them?
So.
Or another NDA.
Yeah, I can't actually say.
Just tell us what you can.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I can't talk about Nike or Aloe.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, man. I know those are like the biggest companies, but like I can't talk about
What about the
those.
other brands? Do you guys have a couple others?
Yeah, we have like fitness. We have like influencers and stuff we work with, and then like stuff like
Almost Nike.
Yeah, Almost Nike. Yeah.
And what do you do with them?
Almost Nike. We basically just they actually just had SantaCon pretty recently. We signed an agreement to basically bring influencers to the festival and have them like post about it on their story.
Okay.
The one catch is that we were getting them the post for free in return for like tickets, like VIP tickets. And probably the hardest one of the hardest like things to do for sure. But we actually got one of this DJ Ken JP. We got him to post about it, and I think they got a bunch of ticket sales from him. And this guy's funny because he's like 20 years old and has already bought a Lamborghini.
That's wild.
Yeah, this guy's crazy. But he came down. He was perfectly fine. We went like 200 miles per hour on the freeway.
Let's go.
It was a great time.
20 years old. What was I doing when I was 20 years old? I wasn't driving a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
I think I was taking some deadbeat GE in college. I was a sophomore or junior year, working a shitty internship and going to cafeterias. I wanted to ask you, like, as far as the brand goes, as far as the company goes, like, what direction do you want to take? Like, in a perfect world where like everything aligns, or everything like lines up, and you see the success that you want. Like, what does success look like for Carbon Keys? Like, what is the dream? Hey there, San Diego. I've been using Dorado nutrition supplements for a little while now, and I can tell you they've made a huge difference in my health journey. Not only are they made in the USA with high quality ingredients, but they're also rigorously tested for purity, potency, and safety. And the results speak for themselves. With ingredients like Fidogia agrestis and Tonkat Ali, I've seen more energy, better gut health, improved T levels, muscle mass, and performance. And the best part is that you can get a $5 discount off your next purchase with the promo code STAYCLASSY at checkout. Trust me, if you're looking to take your health and fitness journey to the next level, Dorado Nutrition is the way to go.
I think the dream is eventually working with like bigger, more like high-end luxury clients.
Yeah.
So whether that's obviously like Gucci or like Louis Vuitton or whatever that is.
Yeah.
I definitely would like to go up to there. I definitely know that I won't stop working until I've hit $100 million. So.
Like net value or?
That liquid
value. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's in your bank account? No, I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, it's interesting, like, that you have like that tangible goal though. Like, I think a lot of people are afraid to like, actually say what their goal is. They don't want to be perceived as like shallow or superficial, but that's like a very tangible goal. And like, can you like talk a little bit about goal setting, like how you set goals, how you orient yourself towards success, and like what, like everybody has like, oh, that'd be a good idea. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to become this.
Yeah.
But you have an intentionality about you that's different though, because you, I mean, I know from working with you a little bit already that you're like what goes in behind that. I mean, I don't know the full scope of it yet, but I know a little bit about what goes in behind that. The long nights, the hours, the sweat, blood, and tears. And like, can you tell me a little bit about like how you set goals for yourself, like what those goals look like to you, and like how do you just orient yourself towards that?
Yeah, so I guess like a good example is like Pole Flow, for example, is just like doing the breakdowns and being like, hey, we have a 12-month contract with these guys. Like, we have to do, 500 to 1,000 users every month.
Yeah.
And essentially make an entire plan on how I'm going to achieve that. Now, obviously, in the beginning of the month, it's really crucial to get a plan set together. So at the end of the month, you're actually hitting the goals.
Yeah.
That's why I'm usually up till 6 a.m., 5 a.m., 4 a.m. going to bed at like.
Yeah, same for the show. You're like Floyd Mayweather. I think he's like stays up till like 5 a.m. working and just like sleeps during the day.
Exactly.
I don't know a lot of people that do it successfully like that, but you're one of them.
Yeah, so I do it. I sleep till I don't know. I guess from like 7, sometimes 6 or 4 to like 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Sorry.
Jesus.
And it's worked out so far for me. I mean, I don't see an issue with it. Yeah.
No, I mean, whatever works. I mean, some people are just not morning people. Some people are not night people. It's just like, but you got to know yourself, right? Like, you got to know like what works for your schedule, what works for your space. Like, when during the day are you creative? Like, for me, it has to be getting up early. If I like don't get up early, if I don't wake up at a certain time, like, it's not that the whole day is like over, but it's just like, I'm not in my rhythm. And like, for me, another big thing is, I got to work out. I got to, get some exercise, get some sweat.
I gotta try to get on that.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's always room for improvement. I haven't been in the gym in a couple weeks. But it's just one of those things where I feel like you have to find like where the space where you're creative, like what works for you. And you have to like be honest with yourself. I heard, an inspiration of mine, Eliud Kipchoge, he ran the marathon under 2 hours. He said, that the most important rule in life to being successful is like never lying to yourself. Like, not like, so you have to be honest with yourself about your strengths and about your weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Like, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think about how you sort of came to understand that, like, hey, maybe the college thing isn't for me, maybe this isn't for me, but like, this is where I'm strong, this is where I'm talented. Like, was that like a moment? Was there an epiphany like that, or?
So I think the big thing was when I like tore my back on the rowing team.
Yeah.
Was just like I had to figure out something that I can, because I'm gonna have all these like problems for the rest of my life with my back.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so skinny right now, because I actually can't go and like work out and stuff. I just haven't gotten fixed all the way yet.
Did you have to have surgery or?
No, they offered me surgery, but I mean honestly, like now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably do it.
Yeah.
After 2 years of not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest thing is like, sorry, can you ask the question again? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
I was just sitting there.
As far as like, college and you decide not to attend college, but you or sort of have this epiphany of like, I'm gonna do this like differently.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember like when that was, or you were saying it was when you tore your back?
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
like talk about that a little more.
Yeah. So it was like when I like tore my back and I just pretty much came home and was like, I had to set something up that's like gonna be online fully.
Yeah.
And obviously filming the videos weren't fully online, but most of the time we're pretty much drinking during the videos so I could get them done.
Yeah.
But
it worked for you.
Yeah, it worked for me completely.
Yeah.
I mean, now I'm at 360,000. So
yeah, you made
it's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. So another thing I wanted to ask you is, like, well, obviously we're both in San Diego. Well, I mean, right now we're recording from Encinitas, but San Diego area, life in San Diego, I mean, we are state classy San Diego, so we try to keep things like somewhat local. And for listeners, like, what do you personally like find is like so special about this community? Can we like talk about like life in San Diego? Like, do you like intend on staying here? Like, what's your like long-term plan? What are your thoughts on San Diego as a whole, and like what makes this place like what it is?
Life in San Diego is awesome.
Yeah.
I would say that I definitely could not move away from the ocean because like, I don't know, I just like going down there and being able to pretty much, I mean, we're like 5 minutes away, pretty much just like go down whenever I want and come back whenever I want, pretty much, which is super nice. And I mean, there's like shops down there and stuff that you literally can just go and work at there. I mean, even if you wanted to go and work in person or something like that.
Sure.
It's super nice. And the girls are really hot down here.
It's an understatement. Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I would say, let's see what else is good. I don't know, just like the people in general, they're pretty nice. I would say the rent's kind of like a little high right now, but that's about it.
It's been like that way for a while. I don't think it's going away anytime soon.
No.
San Diego, I think from what I heard, when you take into like the cost of housing is like top 5, if not the most expensive. Like,
I saw that. It's like the most expensive city. Yeah.
Now I think like cost of living wise, just like day to day, I think from what I understood, like New York and LA are worse. But when you include like the cost of what it is to like buy a house here and like actually live here, which I would love to buy a house here, but it's gonna cost a pretty penny. Like and not just like a mansion, but like a decent house is like gonna cost a pretty penny. So like what I'm thinking about is like San Diego, like life in San Diego, like it's interesting because we had Cody Mank on the show a few months ago who was, he was on The Bachelorette. And one of the things that we brought up was like, people in San Diego and on the West Coast as a whole versus like people on the East Coast and like sort of that like crossover because he's from the East Coast originally. And one observation he made is that like people are really nice out here. People are really nice in San Diego, and I think in general we can agree there's sort of a laid back vibe of everything's good, it's all chill, go with the flow. Like, but at the same time, like sort of an observation that's also made like in criticism of sort of the lifestyle of San Diego is sort of a level of superficiality, a sort of level of shallowness, a level of like disingenuous like people. And that applies to like professionally and also like, socially, like dating life, for instance. Like there tends to be a lot of like criticism around like the way, that dating life works in San Diego. We've talked about this on the show with Cody, with Lauren Rosas, who came on. We're going to have an episode on this later this month about dating life in San Diego. But I wanted to ask you, like, what's your opinion about like that sort of, I guess, criticism of like West Coast, like San Diego culture? Like, do you kind of see it? Do you see that like level of like sort of bling and superficiality and shallowness, or do you think that that's just like a stereotype?
It's not a stereotype. I think like a lot of people are just like super like cocky and like very like flashy and stuff down here. I think like walking up to girls on like the bars or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know. Like some of them are just like, they look at you and you're like, no, like right away. I think height is a huge factor for these girls though. Like, oh my gosh, if you're below like 5'8", like you're
fucked.
You're fucked. Yeah. Like you're not getting it.
Sorry, Rob.
Sorry.
There's no other way to put it, Rob. Like,
no, you're not wrong. And I have to say, as a New Jersey native that's a transplant out here to San Diego, it took me like a solid 2 years of living here before I stopped accidentally offending people, like just completely by accident. Like people are a little sensitive here.
Speak your mind. Yeah, if you're from Jersey, I feel like you speak your mind. But also, like, you never had to date out here, did you, Rob?
Yeah, I met my wife out
you
here.
met your wife out here.
Yeah.
Okay, but did you interact with the dating scene like the way we're talking about, or was your experience different?
No, I totally did, and granted, this is a few years back, but the experience was very much the same. There's a lot of superficiality out here, and I think maybe it's just because there's so many beautiful women out here that they feel like they have more options.
Yeah, they can pick and choose. Yeah.
And when I travel back east, I get off the plane and I look around at all the people, and I'm like, where did all these ugly fat smokers come from? What is this? You just take that for granted when you've lived here for a while.
I told you when I went to school on the East Coast for 2 years in New England, actually, I was like, man, like I had it good out in California. Like, I mean, in a lot of ways, but like in particular, like the dating pool looks a lot different. I'll just say that.
Oh, completely.
But like talk a little bit about that. Like in all seriousness, like I know we're like kind of joking about it, but like as far as like dating life and, you know, I know you're in a relationship right now yourself, but as far as like your experience and like what you know, like socially, like from your friends and stuff, like do you feel like San Diego is a uniquely difficult place to date and find like connection?
I would say like dating definitely like is pretty hard. I mean, I have a girlfriend, so it's not really that hard for me.
Sure, yeah.
I'm already locked in.
Yeah. But I'm sure you have friends, and I'm sure at one time when you were single, and just like from what you've gathered from living here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I most of my friends, you know, they pretty much just, I don't know, maybe once a week I'll get a call and they'll be like with a new girl. So I think it's pretty easy. That seems
so common out here.
Yeah, it's pretty common. It's just like then, you know, every week it's like a different person.
Yeah.
And then I like the line that a lot of them use where they're like, oh no, like I would never do that. Like I'm not like a whore. Like I would never like
for the streets.
Yeah, like I'm not for the streets, anything like that. But then like you look at their track record and you're like, what do you mean?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I pulled you up on Instagram.
What?
You're like, I pulled you up on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like that goes back to like the whole never lie to yourself. Like be honest with like who you are at least. Like if you are like that, if you like to go out and have fun, like that's cool. But like be honest about it, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think that's the important thing, right? Is like and I'm not gonna like preach at everybody, but it's like, you know, if you decide that, you know, you're gonna whatever, like go out and have fun, sleep around, whatever, like, but just like own that, you know?
Oh, I feel like live up to it.
Yeah.
I hate the girls that are like I don't like do any of that. And then they have like the trifecta, you know what that is? Where it's like,
I've heard the phrase, but
or Bumble, Hinge, and Tinder.
Yeah.
And they have like all the dating apps, like each one says like different bios on it and whatnot. And they're like, oh, I love the ocean. Like, let's go surfing sometime. And then, you know, you show up and they actually don't even surf.
It's interesting because I heard this like female podcaster. I can't remember her name. Sorry. I don't just mean like random chick, but like female podcaster that I heard and whose name I don't remember made a comment that like really stuck with me, which is that like in today's age of social media, you have a situation now where like an attractive woman basically has all the advantages because what you can do is like, let's say you're even in a relationship, but she, you know, has a fight with her boyfriend or whatever. She goes home, she posts like a selfie of her in a bikini. By that night, she has 12 dudes asking her out to dinner in her DMs. Like that's the dynamic that social media creates. And I feel like San Diego like amplifies that. I don't know, just like being with like the amount of like attractive and successful people here, it just seems like so amplified. Like
yeah, no, it is completely. I would say like with like my girlfriend in general, like I've just seen it. And I've seen it like with like the girls that like I've even hung out with, like they can literally make a post and like get offered so much like money.
It's like, hey, do you want to fly to Dubai? Like,
yeah, like do you want to like fly to Dubai? You want to come to Miami right now? Like, oh, we'll pay for your entire trip to Cabo. Like it's crazy. Like some of these girls
come on my yacht. Like
shit. And like some of these girls will be like, oh, like I'm broke, like I don't have any money. And it's like, what do you mean? Like you literally can make a post like that and essentially like, I mean, I'm not like, encouraging scamming, but like realistically, you could like screenshot some stuff online and like make a quick like 5 or 10K.
I feel like being a hot girl on social media, like even if you're just like kind of an average quote unquote person, is like tantamount to being a celebrity nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, just like the amount of attention you get from dudes.
So, like, dating in San Diego has been ruined by simps, social media, and OnlyFans, basically.
Yeah,
Literally.
Can we throw like incels into that mix too while we're
Of
at
course,
it? Or?
that's the simps.
Yeah,
exactly.
Simps,
They're just,
incels,
you know,
crossover.
Oh, hot girl, I have to. Oh, like, please date me. You know, like, every day, 500 people. Yeah,
and I think like as guys too, like, and obviously I realize that it's all guys on set right now and we don't have the female perspective, but like as guys, like I think we balance ourselves, like we've all been there, right? Like we've all been that guy who maybe it was like when we were really young, but like in teenagers, but even I would say up until like probably sometime in college, like I was still a guy who like I would go out of my way to impress a girl or to get a girl's attention. And then there was sort of a wake up point where I was like, man, like I'm a simp. Like I'm a guy who is going out of my way to impress women who don't give a shit about me.
Yeah.
And that like has to change. And I think, it takes a certain amount of time in a man's life to like reach that point. But I think we've like all been there to some extent. Like we've all been in that situation. Yeah. But it's just like being honest with that and like owning it. And like, I feel like the important thing is like keeping yourself in the center, right? Like centering yourself as a man is like the most important thing you can do. Yeah.
I think the big issue in San Diego right now is that like a lot of these girls do OnlyFans, and
there's a lot of that here.
Yeah, like exactly what you were saying, but like literally just do OnlyFans, and like they think they're like the top shit because they like make like I don't know what $15K a month about.
Yeah,
like
something like that. Yeah, I've heard of that.
I know that's just like I don't know. Like I know guys like my age that are literally making like 3-4 times the amount of money of that they're making. Now I do know some girls in San Diego that are making like $400K a month doing this stuff. So
$400K a month.
I do,
on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
You're kidding?
No, I'm not joking.
What's that a year? Can somebody do the math?
It's ridiculous.
It's at least $4 million.
Millions.
Yeah, because like in the
like
I've seen what they do. Like obviously, like it's hard to like track and stuff. There are websites that you can track these analytics on, but you see how they do it. It's not just like, they're paying like a one-time fee and getting everything. It's like they're paying consistently. Like they'll pay like a one-time fee, so they get like they'll get rebill on and get charged like, I don't know, $14.99 a month for it. And then on top of it, like get in their DMs and be like, oh, like I have this 5-minute video, but it's like $500. And then they'll like have bots and like people like in India running their full OnlyFans, so they're just like constantly making money. And the stuff in India costs like like $300 a month to have like 10-15 guys like run your chats. So it's like,
do you think we need to like start regulating this shit? I mean, like, is this shit being taxed? Like, how does that work? Like,
yeah, it is.
OnlyFans, like, I mean, I feel like it's just out of control right now. Like, what these people
it's crazy. Making. Yeah, I think it's like independent contractor. It's like 1099 or whatever. 1099. Yeah,
but I mean, I feel like that's probably got to fly under the IRS's radar for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like, now. In the last 2 minutes we had, like, I wanted to ask you, like, as far as just, again, we're all guys on set here. Like, we're both dudes. Like, can you speak from a man's perspective in terms of, like, the advice that you have for maybe a young guy, late teens, early 20s, who's thinking about, like, pursuing that sort of atypical route that you did, but, like, it's like, oh, man, I don't know if I can make it. Like, I don't know, like, this, that, or the other. Like, I should, I'm thinking about just doing what everybody else does. Like, what is your, like, number one, like, tip? Like, what is the number one thing? I know, like, discipline, we talk about consistency, but, like, if you had to, like, sum it up, like, what is that?
Yeah, so I would say the first thing that I wish I did when I was starting this entire journey was take a step back from your friends and evaluate who you're around, because you are the person that you're around. I didn't do that, and along the way, obviously, there were some friends that, screwed me over in one way or another. And I guess just like really finding out like who your core people are, and then surround yourself with those people and like consistently just grind with those people, because like those are the people like any day that if, I have some friends right now, if they came to me and they were like, I need $1,000, like I would feel no problem giving them that $1,000, because I know for a fact they're going to pay me back no matter what. Yeah. Even if it's in the next 10 years. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just like,
that's special.
I think that's a really big thing to have. It's just the people around you. And I think that's what made That's Heavy in Carbon Keys.
Nobody's completely self-made. Like nobody.
Yeah, no one's completely self-made. Yeah. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, no, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Last thing we got to do here on the show is we started doing this segment a few weeks ago. We're sort of toying with this still, but Classy or Not, it's a segment where viewers submit stories of things that happen to them during the week. We, the panel, myself and the guest, evaluate whether these, and you can weigh in too, Rob, Matt, if you want, but we evaluate whether these stories are classy, quote unquote, or not, according to whatever interpretation you have of what that means. So I'm going to read off these stories. I'm going to tell one of mine at the end, and then we're going to get into the classiness of said story.
Right.
So first story, and these are all anonymous submissions, and you can email us or you can DM our Instagram at stayclassysd_ to submit your stories, or you can email us I'm at steve@stayclassypod.com. So here's the first story. So this is from a young man who says he's living at a co-working center in Mexico City. One of my roommates is a college professor from the States on vacation. A few days ago, we went out for New Year's. I'd only met her a few hours prior. I leaned in for a New Year's kiss, and she shoved her tongue to the back of my throat. After we separated, she said, "Hey, we're adults. Let's act like it," and winked. Then his final comment is, "Yes, I was tonguing a stranger, but she was a college professor. Is that classy or not?" Colton?
That's crazy. Classy.
Classy? How so?
No, I'm just kidding. It's
Not
definitely
classy.
not classy at all.
No.
Like college professor, that's pretty
Well, from her
unprofessional.
perspective, definitely very unprofessional.
Yeah,
Like, come
super
on.
unprofessional. His
fired for that
side,
shit,
honestly, like, if I was one of the boys, I'd totally dab him up.
Yeah, of
Really,
course. Yeah. That's something you tell the group chat. Like,
yeah,
immediately.
exactly. Oh, that's immediate group chat. There's probably photos and videos in the chat.
Oh,
right
sure,
now.
sure. Oh, no, I'm sure there is. Like, dudes, like, let me find out who that is, see if he has a video. But I was gonna ask, like, as far as like interactions between like male like students and like female like teachers, like, do you like have you ever like heard any like crazy stories like that, like yourself, like maybe like when you're in high school or something?
You know, we had this one teacher actually in high school, and I always thought she was sleeping with the students.
Yeah.
And eventually, I didn't find out till like a year after I graduated that one of my friends actually had one of the videos of her doing it.
That's like,
And so,
that's not good.
like, yeah,
Not classy.
Not classy at all.
Evidence is not classy.
The evidence is not
Did she get
classy
fired?
at all.
Did it get out online? And
No,
stuff?
no. It wasn't like he took the video. It was like someone like else did or something. Like, I don't really know how it like worked out. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's like that South Park episode where they
Yes.
found out that it's a female teacher, and the cops are just like, nice.
It was like, yes. Dude, I feel like I don't like.
That's
I
kind of
hate
like a
that.
success story right there.
For a guy, yeah, but I kind of hate that dynamic because if you flip the standard, it's like
you're fucked.
prison.
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
prison time.
Yeah.
But like
I'm saying
it's
that's
such a
a lot
double
of-
standard, but we just like accept it as a society, and I don't think it's ever gonna change.
Yeah, no, that will never change.
Cool. Well, okay, I think we can agree that was not classy on her part. For him, good job, anonymous dude. Next story is from another gentleman who said, "Took a date back to my place tonight. She told me she was on her period, so I gave her the classic line, 'The only thing a period has stopped is a sentence.' Classy or not?"
Sentence? Like a jail sentence?
I would
Like a literal sentence.
I would say, I don't know. Like, I don't really have an opinion on that, to be honest. Because if I say one way, so maybe viewers lean towards this way, and if I don't say so, I'm just gonna say, what's the point of having a sword if it doesn't?
If it doesn't get bloody, yeah, that's a good line. That's a good line. That's another one. No, I would say this, like, you know, if you tell her that and she's like still about it, then, you know, go ham, man.
Yeah.
But what were you saying earlier, Rob? You think like sometimes it's like, oh, they just don't want to. Like if that comes out, if that line comes out of their mouth, it's like they don't want to do it.
Yeah, no, I think that I've had that used as an excuse on me more than once when she just wasn't in the mood.
At that point, you just take the L, like collect your dignity, and go home, man. Like it's not a big deal. It's just sex. Like
Well, you
it'll be there tomorrow.
You got to
Exactly.
judge whether or not it's because they're embarrassed about it or if they're just not into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if they're feeling embarrassed about it and you're like, you know, comforting and being like, no, it's chill. Like I don't mind. Like we have a towel, we have a shower, it's all good. But like,
You get creative.
Yeah, you got to just read the room. You know.
Read the room, yeah. And you know, at the end of the day, you know, if she's making excuses, she's probably not down, and just you know, you're too good for her, king. So go off. Last story I have is a personal one, and I'm gonna let everyone else evaluate this. So you were talking about SantaCon earlier,
Yeah.
right? And I was at SantaCon in San Francisco. Me and my friends, we do this thing now where at holidays we wear these red suits. They're ridiculous looking. You might have seen on my Instagram. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, like, there's these like all red suits. No shirt underneath, like the jacket. It's super corny, but we wore it in San Francisco for SantaCon, and then we went to. I was in San Diego over New Year's, and we went to the Hard Rock Hotel. Shout out to Legendary Group for putting on the Hard Rock Hotel's New Year's Eve bash, and I was walking in a hallway to an after party in a hotel room with my red suit on. With a couple of my buddies across the hallway, this gentleman approaches me. He's like probably like 5'10". Or so, and he's wearing a sports cap, and he's like shouting something. I'm not really paying attention. We get a little bit closer in the hallway. We're moving towards each other, and he says something to me like hostile, and I'm not a confrontational person, in case you haven't noticed, and so I just sort of blew it off, like ignored it. This dude takes out a beer bottle, freaking like hits me in the head with it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like right here. Hits me in the head with a beer bottle. And so, I mean, I defended myself. I took him to the ground, gave him about 20, 30 rights, and he was done. But I'm curious to know, like, well, apparently what happened was he's like a known like knucklehead and like gang member, like in downtown, and he was offended that I was wearing red because I thought I was like repping like blood colors or some shit.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So I guess like. From both angles, I mean, okay, I think I know from it. What?
I said I probably would have been fucked. I'm wearing all blue. This is what I wore. On
yeah,
New
exactly.
Year's
I mean,
Eve.
like, did that guy attack everybody that was wearing red there, or what? Like, what was his plan? Like going in there, like just like
what?
Pick a fight? Like I don't know.
Christmas.
But,
Knucklehead activities.
Yeah, knucklehead activities. But I'm curious to know, like, I mean, I think I know what your answer is going to be from his angle, but both angles, like classy or not, and like how would you have like handled that situation?
I think his angle, like, definitely not classy because like shouldn't be doing that to begin with. We're in 2024 now. Like, I feel like it's kind of common to wear red or
People
blue
wear
or
red.
whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
From your part, I would have handled it the same way that you did.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I just think people shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah,
for sure.
No shot. And it totally killed the vibe, dude. Like ruined the night and everything. Like I don't even like. I'm not even mad at the guy, but like, dude, like that was a vibe killer for sure.
Yeah.
Like fights, like no bueno. No. Like don't do it. Like if you're at a bar, some guy's like giving you crap, whatever it is, you're arguing over girls, like just don't get into a fight. It's never worth it.
Yeah, just walk away.
Walk away, dude. Yeah. Like A, you could end up in prison or you could end up dead. But B, it's just like beneath you as a man.
Yeah.
You know? Again, like you gotta know your center.
Yeah. Especially in San Diego. Like you never know who you're talking to. Like
you never know.
The guy on the other side could be like concealed carried or like something like that, and you're fucked.
Even in California, there's people carry guns, like people carry knives, like you don't know, like, and you're like, oh, I can take this guy. It's like, yeah, but it has a knife. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, come on. Like,
do gang members normally wear suits? Is that a thing that they do? That seems like this guy would have a hard time being confused. Although you were wearing a bright red suit with no shirt underneath.
I saw that.
So maybe he was just homophobic and he thought you were gay.
Maybe he was a 30s gangster.
Yeah, you know it's funny because I was it's funny like if you look at like the progression of like gangster style over the years, like gangsters used to dress really nice.
Yeah,
like for instance Goodfellas. You ever seen Goodfellas? Rob, anybody?
Oh yeah.
It's like they're all wearing suits, they're like super nice, and like when he goes home wearing a suit, the main character, what's his name?
You look like a gangster.
Yeah, what's the guy's name though?
De Niro's character?
No, the main guy, the guy who just passed away. What's his character?
Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta, yeah, Larry Liotta's character. Henry.
Oh yeah, Henry.
He goes home to his mom and he's like wearing a suit because the gangsters have been paying him a lot of money. She's like, hey, you look like a gangsta, just like he said. And now it's like looking like a gangster looks completely different. I just find that funny. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, now it's more like, I don't know, like what, baggy pants and stuff. Like.
Yeah.
Well, the mafia was a business, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, they
were
were...
like The Godfather even. Like, look how nice they dressed.
Absolutely.
How cool they were. Like,
yeah. And don't get me wrong, Bloods and Crips are still kind of a business, but I think they only deal drugs. And so, you know, the dress code's a little looser.
Yeah. But long story short, keep it classy, gangsters. Like, come on. Be better. Be better.
Be below the radar. Isn't that the
be
goal?
below the radar.
Don't like be above the radar.
Yeah.
Like the cartel's very, very sneaky. You know?
They are. Yeah. I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms. But yeah, I mean, in conclusion, I think I just, you know, we don't really do interviews like this very often with like influencers and stuff, but I really enjoyed this one for a variety of reasons. But one thing is I think is that like it's important for like I feel like guys in their like sort of early 20s, which is a very confusing and challenging time of life, to sort of like see somebody like in their shoes who's doing it, like who's you know, it's like, oh, I got to go to school, I got to like work the 9 to 5, like, you know, I got to hate my life, but it's like you're like carving out a different pathway. You're doing something that, to be quite honest, that I don't think anybody else is really doing exactly the way you're doing it. And so that's why I've really enjoyed this interview. And I really think that, you know, hopefully, I mean, I'm really looking forward to working with you guys. Like, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Man. And I can't wait to see what we can accomplish together. So,
same here.
Yeah, that's good, man. Yeah,
you know, one thing I wanted to like add in, though, is that when I was doing the influence stuff and the videos, I wasn't just like, I was working at Domino's, like doing that.
Yeah.
So like you had to have some sort of income. Like listen to your parents if they tell you like you got to get like a job or something while you're trying to figure out your other dream. Like do it.
Yeah.
Like so what? It sucked. I mean, I was like driving pizzas, but at the same time I was kind of sick because I got to listen to music and like, you know.
Yeah.
I used to do the same thing, dude.
Exactly. And you actually make a good like money. Like you make some good tips at Domino's. Like it was good. They were paying me for my phone and gas and everything.
Shout out to working at Domino's. Are they hiring? I don't know. No, man, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for doing this interview today. Colton Bishop, everyone. What's your website and ad again?
It's carbonkeysmarketing.com. And my ad is That's Heavy Official.
Check them out, man. These interviews are hilarious. Like, I guarantee you will be entertained. Like, seriously, That's Heavy Official. Check it out. Like, we were all cracking up in studio right before he came in. And I can't wait to see what you do next. So,
absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Good shit. All right, that's a wrap, guys. This has been another recorded episode of Stay Classy San Diego with your host, Steve Wire. Thanks again to our sponsor, MaxLux Media at maxluxmedia.com. Check us out at stayclassypod.com or any of our social media outlets. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and everywhere else you get your podcast content. Please like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us continue bringing you important content that you're not going to see anywhere else. And thanks to all of our listeners for tuning into the show. See you next time. Stay classy, San Diego.